Okay, after we did our front elevation, we're going to work on the right side elevation. Just like we did all the other the front elevation, we had our guidelines. You have your guidelines on this part right here. So a couple things we're going to need from the elevation to do this. We have to find the height that we came up with last time. So let's look in there to see what that height is. Okay, 28 feet, 11 and 3/16. Okay, zoom. So you're going to draw a line from the bottom here, 28 feet, 11 and 3/16. Okay, so when you draw that line across, that is going to be the peak of your roof. Because now remember, the roof on this view is going to go down like that. So let's start from the bottom and let's put our blocks, our first two course of blocks. And the way we're going to do that is I'm just going to copy the blocks that I have in this front view and paste them over there so I don't have to redo them, and we'll only have to change a few. Okay, once I copied the bricks from the other side, I'm going to move them and put them in place where they're going to go. So from the end point of this block to the end point of this block. Okay, so I don't quite have enough, so let's copy a little more. So go over to copy, highlight some blocks, enter from the end point, and then just make sure you line them up so that they're exactly where you're going to go. So let's zoom into there and make sure I did that okay. Yep, so zoom, enter all. Now let's move that to the where we need it to go. So we click on that from the endpoint to the endpoint. Okay, and then let's trim what we don't need. Okay, as you trim the end, the next thing you need to do is figure out the size of the height of the wall. Okay, so we need to know this height over here. So we're going to, under annotate, we need to know the height from here to here. So let's look to see what we came up with. "10 feet 6 inches." Okay, so let's throw a guideline in right here at 10 feet 6 inches. So we have the roof height, and now we need to draw a line from the bottom of this block. Turn the ortho tool on so that it draws straight. 10 feet 6 inches. Enter. Okay, so let's draw that line across for now. Oh, that didn't work. So let's draw a line across. It picked up one of my snaps. So sometimes it's better to draw it past. Okay. So we're zooming in right here. So we know the height of, this is the height of the wall, and this is the height of the roof. So let's look at what else we have in the drawing. All right, on the far end, this is the garage. So we know that the roof is going to be different on that part of the house. So let's do from here to here. We're going to want to know where the midpoint is for the roof. So let's put that in. A line from the midpoint. So let's make sure we have our midpoint snap on. Under our snap settings, let's make sure we have midpoint. Make sure that's highlighted. Okay, now we can put the line at the midpoint of that line. Once we have it, the distance we need it. Let's find where the midpoint is of that. Okay, so here's the midpoint of that line. I'm going to turn the ortho off so I can draw to the end point. The end point of to the end point of this line. Okay, and then we're going to mirror that Okay, let's try that again. So we're going to mirror the line that we drew from there, so it goes to the other side. Okay. Okay, I drew the line all the way to the end, so this roof looks huge. Obviously, we have to change that. So let's delete that and delete that. Okay, this line right here includes, I went from the midpoint. So we're going to grip edit that back to actually the end of the house. Sometimes it doesn't do what we want it to do either. So let's just trim that off for now. Okay, so we need to draw the midpoint of that roof from the midpoint of this line. Thank you, that looks much better. It's not always perfect. Sometimes you got to do things a couple times to get it the way you want. This program's a little harder to use sometimes than regular CAD. You can either mirror that or you can just draw that in now. Hopefully you can draw it in now. To right here. Okay, so you go to the intersection there. So this is what the front of the house elevation will look like. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the side of the house. So there's 4 window placements that we'll put in there. We can just copy the windows that we did from the other side. And the other thing we can do is where the garage is, here's the garage roof. And we'll work on that once we get to that point. The other thing we still have to put a 1-foot overhang on this side so that you can see it. These are all things that we should be working on right now. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we can also now throw the guideline for the garage. And we didn't really come up with the height of the garage roof, so let's make it look kind of nice. I'm giving you a little bit of a freedom to do that. Okay, so this garage roof is going to tie into the existing roof that you have right there. So let's work on putting the windows in. We said we're going to use for the windows 42 inches. So we'll throw a guideline in like that. And then let's copy one of the windows that we have on the other elevation. Okay, so we copied that window. We're going to move it in place. So we're going to move that window. And it's kind of nice if you copy the trim, you don't have to redo it. So I'm going to move it right there. And let's go ahead and put those in place. Okay, so we're going to move. Okay, so as you're copying this window, you're going to place it right where you have your guidelines for the window, which is right there. Okay, and you want to do that on all your windows. Okay, I put in all 4 windows, and the next thing I will work on is siding and the fascia board that goes on both sides. So the first thing, I'm going to offset this green line 6 inches. So let's do that. Offset 6, enter. Okay, and you'll do that on both sides. Okay, let's trim some of these lines to get them out of the way so it makes it a little easier. Okay, trim all those up. Okay, once you have your windows in place, you're going to put your siding on, and now your siding here is going to go all the way up to the top. So you can just offset it once you draw a line, go up 4 inches. Okay, I'm going to trim that, and then I'm going to offset the rest of the way. Offset 4, enter. And then do it all the way up. Okay, when you copy all the siding up the whole house, now all you have to do is trim out where it doesn't belong. So let's go ahead and do that. Any place you don't need siding. Okay, as you finish trimming up, you start getting the siding on. Now the next thing you're going to do is the line that you offset 6 inches on both sides there, and then you're going to do 3-inch offset for those lines, and you're going to hatch those in. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so you have this offset 6 inches here, here, and offset 3 inches here and here. And the next thing you're going to do is hatch that all in so it's solid. Okay, after you hatched everything in, that's what your house should start looking like. It's starting to look like an actual house. So the only other thing now, you have to work on the overhang and finish the garage side, and this is all roof. So let's work on that right now. Okay, so on this side, what you're going to do is extend the line out from the roof that you drew, and then you're going to make this little box, and we're going to trim that up. So let's trim that up real quick. And then you're going to hatch that. And that's your overhang that you'll have. So all you have to do is copy that down, copy that to the other side. So I mirrored from this side to the other side, and that's your overhang, and that's what that part of the view looks like. So we'll throw the garage part on right now. Okay, we're going to offset this line of the garage right here. We're going to go 6 inches. Okay, and then we're going to hatch that. Make that a solid hatch right there. Okay, now we're going to put the siding on the side of the garage. So we'll draw a line from one point from here Okay, and then you're going to offset it 4 inches. And now bring that all the way up. Okay, we put the siding in, and now all we have to do is do the roof hatch. So let's go ahead and do that roof hatch. So hatch, and we did right here. And then we did a pattern, so you can do a pattern like you did on the other hatch. So go ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to hatch this. So you click on the hatch, go to properties, user define, 0, enter, 18 inches, enter, and yes, and we hit that, and we hit enter, and then that was just the hatch that we made up for that. Okay, so we're done with that elevation.